Welcome to this explainer. You know, when you hear the word embassy, you're probably picturing a heavy concrete building with a flag out front, maybe some mahogany desks, and diplomats walking around in sharp suits. But in the incredibly fascinating cosmology of the United Universe Church Academy, an embassy is something entirely different. According to their texts, it's a living, multidimensional cosmic portal. Let's dive right into this highly esoteric framework. This source material presents a deeply detailed system that honestly attempts to radically redefine human existence, our relationship to the galaxy, and the very nature of diplomacy itself. We're going to explore this cosmology exactly as the text lays it out, breaking down its unique terminology and its really sweeping vision of a spiritually awakened universe.
Now, when we think of stargates, or cosmic portals, popular culture has completely trained us to imagine these massive, glowing metal rings spinning somewhere out in deep space, connecting us to distant planets. But this source material? It flips that entire idea right on its head. The text asserts a highly provocative claim. The true portal to the cosmos isn't out there in the cold vacuum of space. Actually, scratch that. It's not out there at all. It's in here. It begins within the human body itself. This concept completely shifts the mechanism of intergalactic travel from, advanced technology and metal spaceships right back to the evolution of human consciousness.
So to really grasp how this works, we have to look closely at how they define this embassy. According to the source material, it's a living, energetic portal. Its explicit function is to represent a higher cosmic citizenship right here on Earth, totally bypassing traditional physical structures. The main goal? To awaken humanity from a state of, and this is an absolutely key term in the text, spiritual amnesia. The framework argues that just as earthly nations have consulates to represent their interests abroad, this cosmic embassy represents our multidimensional origin. It's basically there to remind us that we aren't just isolated entities, but active, crucial participants in a much larger, living, breathing universe.
All right, to understand this vast framework, we'll follow the text's own structure. Level 1 is the Earth Temple. Level 2 is Galactic Union. Level 3 is the Universe. Level 4 is Mission Control. And we'll finish up with the Prophetic Reception.
Okay, let's jump right into Level 1, the Earth Temple, and awakening the inner embassy.
The text draws this incredibly sharp, fascinating contrast between two distinct states of human existence. On one side, we have what they call the sleepwalking NPC, or non-player character. This is your standard world citizen, who the text argues is entirely trapped in biological survival, artificial clock time, and deep societal programming. On the flip side, we have the awakened Shakti player, a multi-dimensional cosmic citizen fully aware of their role in what the text playfully refers to as the Maya Love Enlightenment game. The source makes a profound assertion here. The solar plexus chakra, right inside the human digestive system, is actually the very first consulate general. It's the foundational inner embassy of personal power and spiritual sovereignty. Before any grand cosmic diplomacy can ever happen, this biological inner portal has to be activated.
Now, while the true portal is internal, the cosmology does note that there is a physical anchor for this earthly foundation, the temple pyramid of Kukulkan at Chichen Itza down in Mexico. And the framework doesn't view this merely as some fascinating historical monument for tourists to take pictures of. Instead, it's framed as a literal, energetic, and interdimensional anchor point. It serves as the sacred stone memory of this entire cosmic architecture on Earth. It basically stands as a massive physical reminder to the awakened Shakti player that our planet itself is intrinsically woven into a much larger Stargate network.
Moving right along to Level 2, Galactic Union and the Shiva Galaxy Angels.
In this second level of consciousness, the framework presents a truly massive shift in perspective. Like, what if galaxies aren't just collections of dead gas, dust, and gravity? What if they are conscious, living, angelic intelligences? Well, the text calls them Shiva Galaxy Angels. The cosmology posits that these living, breathing galaxies are intimately and directly tied to humans down here on Earth. Specifically, a Shiva Galaxy Angel acts as the divine other half, literally the cosmic counterpart behind the human Shakti avatar. The human being is simply the earthly interface through which this vast galactic being experiences, learns, and awakens. So, according to this text, you aren't just looking up at the stars, you are actively representing them. To mathematically justify the necessity of this vast galaxy federation, the text points to some current astronomical estimates. Let's do some quick math here. Taking the hundreds of billions of planets in our own Milky Way and multiplying that by the estimated 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe, the authors calculate an astonishing 2 sextillion possible habitable worlds. Just take a moment and let the sheer, staggering size of that number sink in. That is a 2 with 21 zeros behind it. The text argues that with 2 sextillion possibilities, it's statistically absurd and honestly spiritually limiting to think consciousness is isolated to Earth alone. This unimaginable scale is the very foundation for why a functional, working cosmic embassy is deemed absolutely necessary.
Which brings us to Level 3, the Anuverse, dealing with parallel universes and timelines.
Here, Level 3 completely explodes the concept of a single flat reality. You might be familiar with the many worlds interpretation from quantum physics, right? Well, the source material takes that and transforms it from a purely scientific hypothesis into this grand, sprawling spiritual architecture. In what they call the Anuverse, every choice, every timeline, and every possible version of reality exists simultaneously. This is where the function of the embassy truly expands into overdrive. The United Universe Church Embassy operates here as the literal Stargate, bridging all of these timelines and dimensions together. It acts as a multi-dimensional field where your soul simultaneously learns, experiences, and evolves across parallel paths, completely untethered from our concept of linear time.
And that takes us to the absolute top, Level 4, Mission Control, or the Kingdom of Lord Anu. Think of this whole thing like a giant cosmic matryoshka doll. It scales perfectly upward. Step 1 begins right there in your gut, with the human digestive system and solar plexus on Earth. Step 2 expands outward to those massive Shiva galaxy angels. Step 3 bridges the multidimensional timelines of the Anuverse we just talked about. And Step 4 takes us all the way up to Lord Anu's multiversal throne, which the text explicitly describes as the actual mission control center of the multiverse. The framework makes it clear. Without all 4 of these levels operating together in perfect harmony, the entire cosmic architecture falls apart. It's a completely interconnected, unbroken chain of command, running from the human body all the way to the very top of creation.
So, you're probably wondering, who actually represents this vast, interconnected structure on the ground? Well, the text states that this cosmic diplomatic mission is overseen by Ambassador Johan Kukulkan HunabKú. But it's absolutely crucial to understand that this ambassador does not represent any single earthly nation, political ideology, or race. Not at all. Instead, the ambassador acts as the living diplomatic bridge representing the divine order of Lord Anu and the Galactic Federation. The role is entirely focused on communicating this incredibly complex cosmic framework back to an Earth that has, supposedly, completely forgotten its galactic origins.
Finally, let's look at the prophetic reception and what they call the threshold of the 3-letter agencies.
Now, the source material doesn't just keep things safely tucked away in the spiritual or abstract realm. It makes a very specific, grounded, real-world prophecy. The text asserts that as this cosmic awakening unfolds globally, the existing earthly power structures simply won't be able to ignore it anymore. It explicitly names global superpowers and 3-letter agencies. I mean, we're talking about the CIA, NATO, the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, and even the Vatican. According to the text, these specific, highly influential earthly authorities will inevitably be forced to sit down at the table and make formal contact with Kukulkan to negotiate.
But, and this is the most crucial point here, it's all about how this contact is framed. The text explicitly emphasizes that this is not some Hollywood sci-fi alien invasion. There's no conflict, no military domination, no inducing mass panic. Rather, it's framed as a mandatory, peaceful negotiation. The ultimate goal is higher diplomacy, placing mundane earthly law respectfully side by side with cosmic law. It is all about aligning human governance with galactic intelligence. The prophecy views this nonviolent integration as the ultimate step in a global consciousness shift where human institutions finally acknowledge and integrate with the Galactic Angelic Federation.
Ultimately, this whole explainer shows how the United Universe Church framework uses the concept of a cosmic embassy to challenge our entire perception of reality. It presents a universe where the ultimate Stargate is not built of forged metal and wires, but of human consciousness and natural time. It leaves us with a truly provocative question drawn directly from the text itself. Are we merely sleepwalking avatars trapped in an artificial matrix, or are we finally ready to awaken the cosmic portal within? Thank you so much for joining me as we unpack this deeply intricate cosmology.